I think one of the most important things for making corn really high yielding nowadays is just teaching corn plants to be more tolerant of the neighbors. We've essentially taught corn to not be competitive so that we can pack them tighter and tighter together. We've trained them to put their leaves up, to keep their roots to themselves, and to not argue with their neighbors. And so that way you can put more and more plants per acre.
So Sherry, you mentioned food corn a while ago. Did you have a special tour yesterday? Not such much food, but something else, right? Spirits?
This was not the formal spirits thing, but yes, I know where you're going. And so yesterday was just the Missouri Maize Center researchers and students that came out to see our tour, to see what we had. It looks really good right now, and so it's the optimal time to take a look. But in the years past, and what we will be coming up this fall, are some other tours that we do with our Wood Hat distillery halfway between Columbia and St. Louis. Gary Heingartner works on using a lot of heirloom corns for making whiskey, corn whiskey. And so we've been working with him the last 4 years now, I think, on trying to find new and exciting varieties of heirloom corns that have unique flavor profiles for whiskey.
So the type of corn can make a difference on the flavor of the whiskey?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Tortilla chips too then?
I would imagine. Yes, there's a lot of this has been neglected.
Wow.
So when you talk with Gary from Wood Hat, he will talk about a blue corn and how, the wine people, they have their lingo. And so Gary has the same kind of lingo. He says, when you have a blue corn whiskey, it's on the front of the tongue and it's crisp and it's clean. And then the red corns, they make a really hot fire in the side of the tongue. And so he's got the whole lexicon for whiskey, just like the wine people do. And so this is a project that we've got started, the Missouri Corn Heritage Project. That we're trying to build up a lot of the craft distillers in Missouri using Missouri heritage corns that are distilled in Missouri and in Missouri barrels made from Missouri oak to make a full Missouri whiskey.
Wow. And when you say Missouri heritage corn, is that something that we grew maybe in the pre-hybridization days?
Right, exactly.
Pre-1930 or so?
Yes, all these different heirloom corns before hybrid corn came on the scene in the 1950s and 60s, and when it really took hold in the 70s. Farmers used to keep seed from one generation to the next, and they were the heirlooms. And there are a lot of distinct heirlooms, and we have approximately 55 that are from Missouri that are in the germplasm collection that we've been exploring the last couple of years to see how tolerant they are of herbicides, how well they yield, if they fall over, all the different negative things or positive things. But we ultimately want to know how are they going to taste in the whiskey that Gary produces.
Makes me wish I was a whiskey drinker now.
Me too.
I know.
I can taste it, and when Gary talks about the different things, I can taste it. Even a novice can taste the difference between a blue corn and a red corn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I always thought the chips were just in people's mind.
So the blue chips, if you make a blue corn tortilla chip, it does not nearly that blue, or the reds are not nearly that red, but they can get away by saying that that's an all natural product because you can extract the pigments from the plants, and you can, because it's from corn, you can still put those corn pigments back in to make the colors brighter. But you don't get those bright colors from the grain itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's great.
But yes, the flavors are also different.
Now, you are walking in some pretty big shoes here at the University of Missouri, ARS. You go all the way back to Stadler and some of the other ones. So could you briefly tell maybe this great corn history that we have here at MU and ARS?
Exactly. So yes, Lewis Stadler was a famous researcher back in the 30s and 40s and 50s, and he had a joint appointment at the university. Half of his salary came from the university and half came from USDA ARS. And when he retired, he was such a famous researcher doing some really seminal research on fundamental genetics properties across the board, not just in corn, that when he retired, they had to fill his position with an ARS person, Ed Coe, and a university person, Jerry Neufer. And so, and each of those were eminent in their research areas in themselves. And so, yes, the legacy continues today. We've got a lot of great researchers, and that's on the genetics side. And then we have also on the breeding side, Marcus Zuber was a very famous corn breeder with USDA ARS, and he developed Missouri 17. It was one of the most famous lines that went on to really impact modern corn hybrids in the U.S. And we'll show some more of that.
Great, because this in my lifetime, in my career, corn is so much more drought tolerant than it was when I was a kid, or even 20 years ago. Sometimes we get these droughts, and we still make a decent crop. I'm so amazed with it, and a lot of that comes from the basic research that you all are doing, isolating those genes that are good for drought tolerance. And
Right. I think one of the most important things for making corn really high yielding nowadays is just teaching corn plants to be more tolerant of the neighbors. We've essentially taught corn to not be competitive so that we can pack them tighter and tighter together. We've trained them to put their leaves up, to keep their roots to themselves, and to not argue with their neighbors. And so that way you can put more and more plants per acre. And then that also leads into the drought tolerance and all these different things. So I think it's a very complex response to breeding and how the corn plants are today.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, and corn, and we'll show that later, how it continues to transform over time physically, like you just mentioned, how the leaves are, the tassel and such.
Exactly.
It's really neat.